Welcome back to another version of the Friday Five. This week we've got 5 new questions for you health fanatics out there. We try to cover all different bases, from fitness to food to mindset and all that stuff in between. So let's get into it. First question, how do you balance eating through the day with training in the afternoon? I can never seem to get the timing right of eating enough or not eating too much, and then I feel sick. Okay, great question. So this happened to me when I was younger and I first started exercising, and I had no idea really around food timing and how that can affect your performance and how you feel. And so the formula that generally I like to use, and this is pretty common generally, so if you're training in the afternoon, you should have your last main meal should be no more than 2 to 3 hours before your session. So if you're training, for example, at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you need to make sure that you've had your last main meal, say lunch, at least by kind of 2 o'clock, yeah? Ideally maybe around 1 o'clock. So you don't want to be eating a massive main meal 60 minutes to 30 minutes before you train. Otherwise that can kind of sit in your stomach, it can curdle, and it can make you feel a little bit crook. Now, that's great. And then generally it's good to have a snack around 30 to 60 minutes before. You'll do this more if you have had like maybe an earlier lunch. So if you've eaten the main meal 2 to 3 hours before your workout, then there's no real need generally to have another snack before your workout. But if you say your workout's at 4 and you have had lunch at maybe 12, and there's a 4-hour gap there, then you can probably afford to have something small 30 to 60 minutes before your workout. And that would be just something with a bit of carbohydrate in it, because that's what's going to kind of give you the energy release to make you feel good through your workout. So like a piece of fruit, banana, orange, apple, things like that as well, which are fantastic. Might be some nuts, even a fine, or a piece of toast, something dry. Probably don't recommend having something that curdles in your tummy, like yogurt, milky products. That kind of stuff can come back on you a little bit. So I hope that helps. 2 to 3 hours before your workout should be your last main meal, and that can be fine. But if you haven't eaten a main meal, if you've kind of left a 4 or 5 hour gap between training and your last main meal, then having a snack 30 to 60 minutes before will help. All right, question 2. I'm noticing my hips are tight. Some good stretches for this, please. Good. All right. Tight hips. A lot of people have them. My hips are actually probably the tightest part of my body because I spend a lot more time these days sitting at the desk and doing more work in terms of online stuff. So I get it. We've actually created a video titled The 6 Best Floor Stretches. And in that video, there's 2 stretches in particular which target your hips. So I definitely recommend you head over to our YouTube channel at Corfu Newcastle and jump on and search for the 6 best floor stretches. And you'll see a video with 2 stretches in particular. One's called the hip flexor and the other one's called the pigeon. But in saying that, there are other stretches. So with the hips, some people become tighter at the back of the hip, the front of the hip. There's different elements of the hip. But essentially, one of the easiest stretches you can do, let's say if you're short on time or you're at work and you're just a bit tight, is just to sit up nice and tall in your chair, cross one leg over, so make like a figure 4, and then hold that stretch. Or you can put a little bit of pressure down onto that knee. And what that does is it opens up the bum muscle a little bit more, the hip joint. And so that can be a great stretch. And that's a really common one for say, sciatica, if you've got sciatic pain. So that's a great stretch, the sitting figure 4. But the ones on the ground, hip flexor, pigeon stretching, they're fantastic. If you're not sure what they are, definitely jump on YouTube and take a look. Number 3, some workouts I feel dizzy. Anything I can do to help stop that? Okay, cool. Who here has felt dizzy during a workout before? I know I have. There's actually many factors to this. We've got some people and we've solved these issues for people here, which is great. And so a couple of things here. This person who in particular I know is quite highly stressed in terms of what they've got going on. So that can play a part. Stress. Not sleeping too well. That can play a part. Not eating enough before your workout potentially, or you're coming in on empty stomach. That can play a part. And so they're some of the things you got to kind of look at. Now, one real kind of simple trick that I've found definitely helped me especially in terms of cycling, getting on a bike and riding a long way. And I was feeling like I was hitting a wall all the time. They call it bonking in cycling, and you hit a wall and you just got nothing left in the tank and you still got to get home. And sometimes it can feel like that when you're in a workout. You hit that wall and you're like, man, you start seeing that kind of those stars, right? And so having electrolytes is one of the best things you can do. For me on the bike, I got a thing called Endura, which also has some sugar and stuff in it to keep you going. But just electrolytes you can get from like Coles or Woolies or health food stores. You pop those electrolytes in your water and you sip on them as you go through your workout. And those electrolytes can help replenish like the salts and minerals and things like that you lose when you sweat. And that can actually have a big impact. One of the ladies here who's done that recently has all of a sudden gone from feeling dizzy to rarely ever getting dizzy. So it's amazing what electrolytes can do. So pop some electrolytes in, little tablet, pop it in your water and let it dissolve and drink that as you go. And yeah, you might find that'll do the trick. Number 4, any tips on how to drop the pesky last 3 kilos? All right, this person's done an amazing job. They've lost about 10 kilos and they've got a couple more they want to do to get to their goal weight. And the last few kilos are often the most stubborn because your body's trying to send you a message to say, hey, I'm kind of getting towards where I'm supposed to be. And therefore, the last few kilos become harder and harder to shift. It's not like we just lose all that weight, you get there and you stay there. That's not how it works. You know, your body will fluctuate a little bit within a few kilos too. I reckon there's 2 options here. I've done a lot of coaching over the years, and we speak to a lot of people about this position where you get towards your goal weight and you're just about there and you're fighting for those last couple of kilos, and it's like nothing you're doing is working. And so you've got 2 options in my opinion. Number 1 is you've got to be extra disciplined. So you've got to really kind of nullify the things in life maybe you enjoy more of. You know, so if you have still that weekend wine or the birthday cake or whatever, you've got to be more savvy and you've got to actually kind of think, right, you've got to compromise a little bit more on that stuff. And it's whether you're prepared to do that is the question. Because often it's the extra calories and stuff they add up and the last few kilos will start to drop off. Or you've got to change your mindset a little bit. And this is going to be hard with people who have focused on weight loss as a goal. And so you're focused on weight loss and then you think, well, I've got to keep losing weight because that's my focus. But eventually you got to kind of shift the game a little bit in the head. And so sometimes it's good to go away from once you've gotten down towards your goal weight, you got to ask yourself, am I prepared to give up things that I enjoy? Maybe going out with friends a bit more, or maybe having the wine, to let me relax or whatever. Am I prepared to give that up for the last 2 or 3 kilos? Or am I happy living in the state I'm at with this 10 kilo weight loss goal and I'm healthy and comfortable, but I can still go and enjoy those things? Does that make sense? So, it's whether you want to be disciplined enough to give that up for the extra couple of kilos, or whether you're happy kind of being where you're at and still enjoying life a little bit as well. And so that's something for you to think about. Some people want to go just get to that number. That's okay. I'm a believer that you still got to enjoy your life a bit. You don't want to miss out on things. That's not what we're about. And sometimes you got to kind of sacrifice a couple of kilos to be able to enjoy life, but you're still healthy, so it's all good. All right, number 5. Are there supports you can get for your hands when boxing? I've started boxing recently, and my wrists are a bit getting sore. Okay, so very common when you start doing boxercise or boxing and you're holding mitts and punching, it's common for people when they haven't started to get a little bit of wrist pain. And sometimes what it is it's just your wrists aren't used to the impact or the technique of holding and punching. And so we wear the cotton inners here, which are fine and they kind of help to stop the sweat coming through. But what is best to wear with boxing is either a proper wrist wrap, which you get from, say, Rebel Sport or Southern Cross Fitness at Warners Bay, or you can get them online. So wrist wraps will help protect your wrist. Or you can even get like gel inserts. So it's like a fingerless glove that goes over your hand. It has padding on the knuckles, and then it has a wrap that goes around your wrist. And they're about $15, but they last you for ages. And so that gives you that extra support underneath your boxing glove. And so some people wear them here, some people don't. But other than that, it's generally, I know this person, we talked about their technique and whatnot and worked through that. But sometimes, like I said, it just takes a couple of sessions of boxing for you to get used to it, just like anything. But if you want to make it better for you, better experience, then I'd certainly recommend you head into, say, Rebel Sport or a fitness shop and grab yourself some of those inserts or a wrist wrap that you can put around. They're the 5 for this week. Hope that helps. Keep crushing it, everyone. Hope you guys are staying healthy and enjoy your weekend. Have fun. See you soon. Bye-bye.